Hello, my friends. Hour 2. I'm Mark Levin, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. I'm sorry, our friends in San Francisco, that you're having problems with your toilets while that one guy's pushing against circumcision. You got all kinds of stuff going on. I'll get into that later. Now, with the price of gasoline skyrocketing, what do you do if you're the Obama administration? First, you try and blame it all on Libya, and we'll get to Libya in a minute. No doubt you'll blame it on the oil companies who have been begging to drill. Begging. Their permit requests, piles and piles of paper just sit there at the Interior Department collecting dust. You got to figure out how to deflect attention from your own efforts to obstruct drilling and refining, your own efforts to intentionally drive up the price of fuel and electricity and so forth. So what do? Well, let's see how clever they are. According to the Hill newspaper, they have approved one new drilling permit, deep ocean drilling permit in the Gulf of Mexico. Yep. 1 down, 14 to go. That's the message from Senator David Vitter, Republican Louisiana, sent to the Obama administration today when the Interior Department announced it had approved the first Gulf of Mexico deepwater drilling permit since last year's massive oil spill. Well, that'll fix things, won't it, folks? Vitter has placed a hold on a key Interior nominee until the department's offshore drilling arm, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, Regulation, and Enforcement, good Lord, issues at least 15 deepwater permits. Vitter said there are concerns of $4 per gallon gasoline in the near future, and while one deepwater permit is a start, it's by no means a reason to celebrate. I'm still demanding Obama allow at least 15 deepwater drilling permits before I release my hold on Interior Department nominee. So, I told you these guys are diabolical, and that's what they are. Well, we put a permit out there. We approved a permit. We're working on this as fast as we can, as thoroughly as we can. It's not our fault the price of fuel is going through the roof, when in fact it is. And wait for electricity. That's working its way down the system, too. With all the administration's efforts to obstruct coal mining. Oh, yeah, because coal is the key resource used in producing electricity. President talks about green jobs. He creates none. President talks about creating and saving jobs generally. He doesn't create or save a damn thing. We should be unleashing our energy resources in Alaska, off the Gulf, in North Dakota, in oil shale. I mean, we should be pressing ahead, but he won't allow it. Instead, what we're going to do is mandate more ethanol to further drive the price of food. Now, while I'm on that point, because I meant to mention it last hour, shouldn't the issue be, ladies and gentlemen, how we address the high cost of food? Isn't that what they should have been asking on the Sunday shows of Governor Huckabee and Governor Christie? What do you recommend that we do to ensure that the price of food doesn't become such a terrible burden on average income families? The same White House that's out there talking about child obesity is driving up the price of food through its EPA with its attack on our farmers, whether it's regulating methane from cattle, for God's sakes, or dust from wind, or milk spills as oil spills. We're living in Obama in Wonderland, and we want to thank the First Lady for her hard work on obesity. I want these people out of office next election. That's what I want. Then we can thank them all we want. Won't matter. Meanwhile, Obama's got his priorities here, and it's the public sector unions. First of all, you've probably been busy this weekend living your lives like most people. Well, in Madison at the state capitol building, Mike Tobin, a Fox reporter, he was doing what reporters do, reporting. And here's what happened at a live broadcast yesterday, Hat Tip Real Clear Politics. Cut one, go.
The teacher was giving me the business yesterday, and the teacher told me she hates me because it makes her feel good. That's the situation out here, Greg.
You know, Mike, I hate to put you into this situation because you're being surrounded there, and, yeah, you're being heckled, and there is profanity and vulgarity.
Go ahead. Now, that guy just hit me, so they just let you know.
All right, but you know, why do they express such vitriol toward the media?
You know, I don't know what they intend to accomplish by it, but they definitely, as you can see, by covering up the cameras, they want to shut down the communication. They have an idea that there's going to be a diverse viewpoint. They don't want to get it.
Oh, boy. How do you like that? They remind you of the Tea Party rallies? Of course not. Then there is a pro-union protester, Bob Oeman, in Chicago on Saturday. Hat-tip rebel pundit. Let's hear what he had to say. Cut 8, go.
I got a challenge out to any Republican for a boxing match. You bring it on, baby, because I'm Chicago about. I'm a big bastard. I'm the meanest damn liberal in the land. I'm looking for a fight with any teabaggers. That's right. So bring it on, you loud-mouthed, wussy mother. Step in the ring with me. I'm going to make you suffer. Now, I was a fan of Cassius Clay before he became Muhammad Ali. Just like him, I'm going to float like a butterfly. Boom, 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 I'm going to sting like a bee. So I'm mad.
Do you believe in violence?
I believe in fighting for your rights. I believe in fighting.
So violence is acceptable?
No, violence is a baseball bat. Violence is hanging.
Violence is not punching people?
No, a ring.
That's not violent.
No, not when your opponent has a baseball bat. You bring it out.
I ask you a question. Why hasn't Obama spoken out against this kind of talk, this kind of incitement? Why hasn't he done that? Why haven't all the frauds who are on MSLSD and these other pathetic so-called media outlets denouncing this? Hate speech? Or as David Gregory once put it, violent rhetoric? Has a single Tea Party activist at any Tea Party rally ever talk like this? Of course we have passion. Why shouldn't we? People are destroying our country. We're always going to have our passion. That's not the point. Challenging people to fights, using the F word left and right, blocking television cameras, hitting a television reporter. You know of any instance in which that occurred at a Tea Party rally? None. And yet look how the Washington establishment, the sickening media in this country, look how they portray law-abiding citizens, taxpayers, who rally in defense of their own liberty versus this crap. That's right, crap. Now, there was a time when Obama, took him about a week, but Obama stood up and he spoke, and he was very concerned about civility. Remember? At the Tucson Memorial, after that horrific event, back on January 12th, 2011, seems years and years ago, doesn't it? Here's what he said. Cut 6, go.
But at a time when our discourse has become so sharply polarized, at a time when we are far too eager to lay the blame for all that ails the world at the feet of those who happen to think differently than we do, it's important for us to pause for a moment and make sure that we're talking with each other in a way that heals, not in a way that wounds.
How about that? And will he say that to the thugs you just heard? Will he say it to his good buddy Trumpka, who visits the White House repeatedly and contacts it multiple times every day? The thugs that run the SEIU and AFSCME, will he say it to them? The thugs over there that run the NEA? No, he won't say a thing to them. Well, instead, he will admonish the taxpayers. Instead, he will admonish those of us who are pointing out what these folks are saying and what they're up to. He will use facts and evidence to point to pensions and health care benefits that are simply unsustainable. Instead, he wants to lecture us because he's bought and paid for by these people. Let me repeat, bought and paid for. They need him and he needs them. The hell with the taxpayer. The hell with the independent citizen who's paying for all of it. You're just supposed to shut up, pay up when those bills come in the mail for your taxes from your school system or your local government or your state. Just shut up and pay whatever they say. That's your job, apparently. That's what our free society has become, apparently. And Obama wants you to shut up and stop talking up, stop speaking up for yourselves. Here he is today at the White House. Cut 5, go.
I don't think it does anybody any good when public employees are denigrated or vilified or their rights are infringed upon. We need to attract the best and the brightest to public service. These times demand it. We're not going to attract the best teachers for our kids, for example, if they only make a fraction of what other professionals make. We're not going to convince the bravest Americans to put their lives on the line as police officers or firefighters if we don't properly reward that bravery.
Isn't that interesting? And yet, as soon as that Professor Gates attacked a cop in Cambridge, who did Obama stand with? Then, public sector union be damned. He stood with Professor Gates. He didn't even know the facts. Didn't even know the facts. It didn't matter. But in any event, Obama is telling you that we need to attract the best and the brightest to public service. Did you hear a single word in that statement on the rights of the citizen taxpayer? What are our rights? When do we get heard? When do we get to object? When do we get to put aside a little bit more of our money for our children and our grandchildren? Or a rainy day? Or put a little bit more money in our own health care or pension plans? When do we get to do that, Mr. President? You're tormenting the hell out of us. You're prodding us and pushing us and pulling us. You're regulating us and taxing us. Yes, when do we have these rights? And how do we get to assert them? And if you think, as I have my entire life, that police officers and firefighters are among the bravest of our citizens, can you tell me what you've ever done to acknowledge that? As a community organizer, as a backbencher in the state Senate, as a 3-minute U.S. Senator, and as President of the United States, can you tell me exactly what you have done to acknowledge the greatness of our police and our firefighters? Do you spend more time with left-wing Maoists and Trotskyites and environmental Marxist flat earth types than you've ever spent with police officers and firefighters? You don't need to lecture us. What we're talking about here is something that cannot continue, that is going to destroy one state after another and destroy our society. And you don't give a damn. Because you are, as I said before, and I will keep saying, you're bought and paid for by these union bosses. And they're bought and paid for by you. Another bought politician. Washington's full of them. We'll be right back. And therein lies the problem, ladies and gentlemen. We have politicians on school boards, on local government councils, mayors, state assembly houses, governors too, members of the House and Senate and in the White House who are bought and paid for. And they are bought and paid for by this enormously powerful public sector enterprise that we, the taxpayers, keep feeding. And so all the talk by these politicians defending this, what they're really saying is we should leave them alone too. We'll be right back.